Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen, inspired by travels to France, as well as to other delicious excursions around the globe. While going about my everyday life in Bend. Join me as I share seasonal fare to elevate the everyday meal. And most importantly, discover how to enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Let's get started. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Shannon Abels and welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen. Today we're going to make a dinner that is simple, delicious, and healthy. Inspired by one of my trips recently, I went to San Francisco and I had one of the simplest dinners, but because of the ingredients and what they did to them, it just was magic in my mouth, and my mother was with me as well, and we had the same thing. We both just looked at each other and said, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And what I loved about it was that it was actually an upgrade on a meal I make quite often during the work week. So what we're going to be making is slow baked salmon, and then we're going to have black rice or forbidden rice, as well as vegetables. And we're going to mix it all together with a delicious champagne vinaigrette. So let's get started, and we're going to get these salmon in the oven ready to go. So first, to slow bake salmon, I'm going to get this to the right degree. To slow bake salmon, you want to turn your oven to 250 degrees. This is going to make sure that the inside is as wonderfully cooked as the outside, so you're not going to have to pull it out too quickly and then realize, oh my gosh, it looks good on the outside, but it's not done on the inside. And it's going to make for a very lovely, luscious bite. Easy preparation here. All we need: salt and pepper, so coarse sea salt, and then you're going to coat this in olive oil, and I want to use just my cooking olive oil, which is still really good extra virgin olive oil, but I have special olive oil that I use for the vinaigrette. Okay, so about a tablespoon, and you're going to massage that in everywhere. Now the one thing that you can or don't have to do is up to you, and I like to do this, is take the skin off. Okay, actually I'm going to take it off the platter for a second. Now you don't have to. I like to eat the skin, but for this dish, it's actually really nice to have no skin to worry about and just lovely, lovely flesh of salmon. So we're just going to take that skin off, and you can actually have your fishmonger do this if you'd like. They can easily whip their fish scaling knife out and do it a lot faster than what I can do. But it's easy to do it at home too. But don't think you have to take the skin off. Like I said, I like that extra texture. I'll get that off. And that way I make sure I have all the meat. So, give it another massage. Wop, wop, wop. Alright. Now this is going to go into the oven that's already been turned on to 250 degrees for 30 minutes approximately. Now, let's talk about the salmon really quickly while the oven's heating up. This is a king salmon. Now, a king salmon is a special occasion salmon, in my opinion. I shouldn't even say my opinion, for my budget. Normally I have sockeye salmon because it's less expensive, but it's still wild, and I prefer wild, especially since I live on the Pacific coast or near the Pacific coast. We have them more readily available, and they are more affordable, much more flavor, especially the king salmon. It has the highest fat content in all the salmons. Sockeye salmon doesn't. It's leaner, but it's still really good. And you'll find that the thicker and the more abundant of fat, the longer it's going to take in the oven. So I do put it at 30 minutes for king salmon, but check it at 20 if you have sockeye, because usually it'll be done at 20. So let's put this in for 30 minutes at 250 for our slow bake. All right, so now we're going to get to cooking, and I want to get my hair out of the way. And we're going to start with the rice. Get the rice going. Now, I love black rice. Let me wash my hands real quick. So black rice is my go-to rice if I'm going to have rice. I do like arborio rice when I'm making my risotto, but typically I stick to my black rice. Now what we're going to do is toast the rice first. So we're going to put this at about a medium to low heat. We're going to put some butter in here. Okay. Now I don't know about you guys, but in the summertime, my butter bell, the butter just slips right off and goes into the water because it's so warm. You can put it in the fridge, sometimes that helps. But another thing that I've found that helps is if you simply clean this frequently, because hey, it's butter, it's slick, it's gonna make it come right off. That's the purpose of it. But not a big deal if it falls in the water. It still just makes it spreadable and it is still fresh. I usually go through that in about 3 or 4 days, and then I clean the water out every other day or so, and it works perfectly. So now we're going to put about a half a cup of black rice in here, and it doesn't have to be perfectly measured, and I'll explain why. So first of all, let's talk about the health benefits of black rice. So black rice is high in antioxidants, very much like salmon, very much like blueberries, but without the sugar. And it is one of the more healthy rice options out there. Or I shouldn't say healthy, it's one of the healthier rice options out there. And you'll find, Oscar wants to get out, let me get him out and I'll be right back. All right, and what you'll find, I think, is that it's not unnecessarily filling, and it just provides that carb that you're looking for, but then it has that extra dose of antioxidants, which is awesome. And it looks beautiful. It creates a different kind of visual aesthetic to your meal. All right, so that's going to toast for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll put water in there and bring it to a boil and cook it up. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do over here, we have water in our boiling, ready to boil, because we're going to blanch sugar snap peas. So we're going to bring that to a boil. Okay. I always like to salt my water because you do want that more flavor. All right. Now what I also did prior to starting these two is I roasted broccoli. And I'll bring that out here in a second. But because I have to slow bake the salmon at 250, I need to roast the broccoli at a minimum of 350. I actually roast my broccoli at 400. I did that before. So this is not a hard meal to make. It just takes a little bit of time. It doesn't require you to be in the kitchen the whole time. So when I was roasting the broccoli, I was actually doodling about the house, doing some other things that I needed to do, and just waited for the timer and took it out. I do want it warm, and so it's back here and it is warm, because this is going to be a warm dish preferably, but it's wonderful cold and then heated up just before for lunch or leftovers. All right, so this is toasting. This is coming to a boil. My sugar snap peas, I'll use about half of these, so about a cup and a half. Okay. And where I got the inspiration for this dish, as I said, I was in San Francisco this summer, and we went to a restaurant in the Ferry Building. Now, I haven't been to San Francisco for 17 years, and I live in Oregon. I am not that far from San Francisco. Why? I don't know why it took me so long to get back down there, but I'm glad that I made the trip. I took my mom with me, and we had a wonderful time. We were there for 2 nights, but 72 hours, and well, here's a look at some of our favorite stops along our trip. As you can see, we saw a lot of San Francisco, had a wonderful time, and I can honestly say my appetite was very satisfied at the end of that trip. So this dish was inspired from the restaurant we went to in the Ferry Building at Boulette's Larder, and actually I thought I was going to Boulette's Larder, but Boulette's Larder serves breakfast and lunch for the public, and then they use the Boulette Larder dining room for special occasions in the evening. I did not know that, made reservations for dinner, and I had actually made reservations for their Boulibar, which was when I had this dish. I had a king salmon with millet and vegetables, sugar snap peas, and broccoli, and oh my gosh. Oh my god, and I was so hungry that I did not take a picture of it, so my apologies. I took some pictures of the dessert, but I was so hungry that I just devoured the salmon dish. But I wrote down what I was loving about it, tried to take a picture of the menu, and tried to come back and recreate it in my own way for how I enjoy cooking in the kitchen. And so I have substituted the millet for black rice, although you can absolutely use millet, whatever you prefer. And that's basically it. I'm making my own champagne vinaigrette, my interpretation of that. So how do you do that? You want, first of all, the top quality champagne vinegar. So you want 1 tablespoon of champagne vinegar. Okay. Put that right in here. Before you put the olive oil in, we're going to put about a half a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, the best Dijon mustard, or the Dijon mustard that you like. I have a Herbs of Provence mustard that I picked up. It was on sale, and I actually really like it, so I was really happy that I found it. A little bit of pepper. Okay, and now the olive oil, and you're going to put 3 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. This is the olive oil that you want to invest in. This is the olive oil that you don't use when you cook. For example, what we just did on the salmon. You want to pick the best quality that you can find or afford, and I will provide links to the ones that I use and love. Actually, I'm going to just use 2 tablespoons and see how that tastes. Emulsify that. So I emulsified the 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, the 1 tablespoon of champagne vinegar, and the half a teaspoon of Dijon mustard with pepper. I'm going to just taste it, see if I like it. It needs more olive oil. So we are going to go 3 to 1. Sometimes it depends on my taste buds, it depends on the ingredients. Definitely want 3 to 1. Woo-hoo! And that's why we taste, but you always taste on the back end. You always taste on the front end, on the back end. There you go. All right, so the butter is melted down. Okay, this is boiling, but before I put anything in there, I want to put water in here. So the black rice has toasted. Now, some other things you can do depending on what you have, and this is why I brought this out with all my aromatics. I'm going to put this down for a second. You might have some extra shallots or some extra onions, and you don't know what to do with them. Well, an idea is to add flavor to your rice dish. Now, I'm making a very simplified version. This is something I would make in the middle of the week, but you could absolutely saute down a half a shallot or a shallot down here, depending on the size. I would put a small shallot in here, and then once you do that, then you put the rice, toast that in butter, and it just adds more layers of flavor. So it's really up to you and what you have on hand. So just know that's another layer of flavor you can absolutely add. Woo, this is ready to go. Actually, since this is talking to me, I'm going to put about a cup and a half of sugar snap peas right in here. I'm going to let it blanch. The blanching is going to take normally 2 minutes, but I want to have these a little softer than just blanched, because I want them to be, again, the consistency that I have in this dish that I had at the restaurant. I want it to be somewhat as soft as the salmon's going to be, but if you like crunchy sugar snap peas, then just about 2 minutes. But I'm going to leave them in here for about 5. But I need a cold water bath once I take them out, so I'm going to prepare that. This needs to be brought to a boil. So you don't need to measure out the water. Just make sure it's at least twice as high as the rice, if not 3 times. That's ready. And that's ready to go. And this is going to come to a boil. Put about a teaspoon of salt. Flavor it up. And the reason why you don't need to measure the water is because you don't want it to soak all the water up. You want to cook it for about 20 to 30 minutes until it's al dente, or the consistency that you like, and then you just drain it. Now if you want to be really precise, then you can measure out and do what you need to do. I don't want to worry about that. When I get in the kitchen, I want to put my rice in, toast it, put water in, bring it to a boil, drain it, have dinner. But if I'm worried about measuring everything for cooking, it just takes too much time, and it's not necessary if you know exactly the consistency you want. And I do. I like mine al dente, and again, I wait about 20 to 30 minutes, and it works perfectly. Beautiful green over here. I got to show you the green color here. I know you can't see it perfectly because all the steam, but this is exactly what we want. We want to bring this to a blanch. Okay, so this dressing is ready. I'm going to stick that off to the side. The vinaigrette's ready, I should say. Perfect. Once this comes to a boil, then we just let it cook at medium-high heat, so about 8 on a scale of 1 to 10 for 20 to 30 minutes. So this is going to take a little bit longer. All right, the rice is done, so we're just going to strain that out. And how I do that is I get my mesh strainer, hot pads, because this is going to be a hot pan. Take this back here, come back to you, and just drain it. Okay. Obviously catching all the rice. Put it back in. It's okay if you put it back in a little bit of the hot burner. I know it's off, but it's still warm, because you want some of that moisture to evaporate. Now we're going to put a little bit of butter in it. Butter. I put about a tablespoon of butter in. That's soft butter. Okay, perfect. And mix it up. That's for the rice. The butter's for the rice. Now, what I'm going to do is mix the vegetables in here, then the vinaigrette. So I would take about a half a cup for one person into that half a cup of rice that is now ballooned into a cup. Broccoli here, another half a cup to a 3/4 cup. Okay. First mix that in there. Now you're taking the dressing, mix it up again, make sure it's all incorporated. You may not use all of this, so you're just going to do a little bit at a time, kind of like when we made the vinaigrette in the first place. Is you can always add more, but you can't take it back. So we're going to put in about 2 tablespoons of that. I think that's going to be enough. And we can use that for the next time I make it, or another salad later in the day or tomorrow. Then we're going to prepare it. Let me get this out of the way. Get your dish. Again, this is going to be warm. I love this dish warm. I think that was part of the magic when I ate it at the restaurant. It was just really comforting. And if you want more rice, put more rice in. But this is pretty much equal parts. Let me get my salmon here with no skin on, and just put it right in the middle. Perfect. That is dinner. And it really doesn't take too much to make. It's just a matter of waiting. So in about 45 minutes, you can have this ready to enjoy. Let's try a bite. All right, let's get right in here. Yeah, see how it just kind of flakes apart? It's perfectly done. I love that. And believe me, I've undercooked and overcooked salmons before, so it's good to check in on the one you have, because they're all a little different and they all cook a little faster or slower, and ovens are different too. So I'm just going to get a little bit of veggies, a little bit of rice. I'm going to have one more bite. The champagne vinaigrette just adds a little extra something. You don't taste the vinegar. You don't necessarily taste the mustard. You just taste a little extra depth of yum, a little bit beyond the butter. You don't want it to sing. You want it to harmonize with the rest of the dish, and it does. I love this. And now the funny thing about this, before I went to the restaurant, my recipe of choice during the workday or work week is salmon, black rice, and roasted broccoli. I love roasted broccoli. And by the way, how you make roasted broccoli, I have a recipe on the blog. It's simply 400 degrees, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, one head of broccoli, salt and pepper, 20 to 30 minutes. Usually for me it takes about 20 minutes at 400 degrees, but that's my oven, what I'm used to, and everyone's oven's a little different. I like them a little tender. I don't like them too tough. But those 3 components used to be my dinner very often. And then since I've been to the restaurant, I've had this idea of, oh, let's put a vinaigrette in it. Oh, let's like add those sugar snap peas. And again, I love how the sugar snap peas are not crunchy, they're softer. And while they're more vegetable, they still are incorporated in the dish. They're not separate from the dish. So I'm gonna eat one. And again, very healthy, and this will fill you up. This is a complete meal, and I hope you enjoy it. So enjoy your day. Come home to a beautiful meal, and enjoy the food you get to eat, and then thus enjoy stepping into your kitchen, because it really can be that simple. Thanks for joining me. Bonne journée. I get everything on there, out there.